40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. "40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. "40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. "40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. 40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Forty Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Green White Checker TV, where tonight we have the Area 51 Friday Superspeedway Truck Series here tonight at Daytona International Speedway. Drivers at the moment putting down their qualifying laps for the second race of the playoffs. Last week it was Jack Walls getting the big win in Atlanta over Joshua Highbaugh, Cody Nagels, Dean Wilkinson, Dude Conrad rounding out our top five. So again, that's race one of the 4 races in the playoffs, so we still got plenty of more playoff racing to go. And obviously there's going to be some of those drivers that didn't have the night they're wanting to have, to see what they can do here this evening. Try to bring some points back in, because at the moment, as saying this is a big asterisk on this point, is if I'm not mistaken, I believe Jack actually gave up his playoff spot because he was going to be missing some races. So it looks like he's here once again tonight. So right now he is the points leader on the playoffs. And then he's got a 7-point lead over Joshua Highbaugh. And again, that's where the bonus points start to come in. You got Josh -7, Cody Nagels -8, Dean Wilkinson -9. And then a couple more back, you've got Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie -13. So, and that could all change. Again, if that is indeed the case for Jack, then it's going to be basically 1 point for Joshua Highbaugh over Cody, over 1 point over Dean, and so on and so forth. So that's where these bonus points come into play. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see who's going to be able to bring it up and just try to get max points tonight. The magic lap for this evening is going to be lap number 40. So leader at the completion of lap 40 that'll be the money lap that we always talk about each and every week. So that is the case tonight. Will be lap 40. And that is going to be interesting on the fuel strategy, because pending it going green, I was hearing about 19 to 20 laps on fuel. So if you've got a fuel saver, maybe someone's going to pull some strategy. We've seen it before where the bonus point is actually while the driver's on pit road. We'll see if we see that this evening as well. Like I said, definitely we have seen some crazier things over the course of the races. And it looks like we've just about got qualifying complete. But again, talked about the bonus points, leading a lap, leading the most laps. So those are going to be crucial here this evening for these guys to try to get every bonus point they can tonight. I will be rolling solo this evening. Boomer Logan and Brandon Briggs off being good husbands. So you're stuck with me this evening. Apologies for that. But hopefully we'll have a lot of fun this evening. So right now it looks like qualifying has just completed as we speak. So what we are going to do is we're going to jump over to our starting grid. And it is going to be Vicente Guerrero on pole by 0.03 of a second over Gabe Butler. Then we got Dude Conrad, Dean Wilkinson, row 2. Jim Duda, Les Levy, row 3. Tom Dixon, Eric Laurie, Gary Huffines, and Justin Davis rounding out our top 10. Then 11th and 12th, you've got Ryan Decker. Good to have him back on track tonight in that number 48. Bud Steele right next to him. Continuing down the order, then you have Doug Webb, Adam Kilday, Jim Brooks, Jack Walls, we talked about last week's winner, Paul Witt, Hayden Davis, David Overstreet, Joshua Highball, Anthony Lane, Robert Amaral, and Bob Fitzgerald will be starting shotgun here tonight. So 23 trucks taking part in tonight. And then the one name I'm not seeing in the race here tonight, unfortunately, is going to be the driver I just mentioned, who's in the top 3 points coming into tonight's one, which is Cody Nagel. So that is not ideal, obviously. I mean, I don't need to understate that. But in more ways than one as well, because, again, Vicente, is one that works very, very well with Cody. So it's unfortunate. I say definitely hate Cody not being here. And Vince is going to be in the same boat because he's going to be wanting to have that drafting buddy. So Vince try to see if maybe he can make some friends over the course of this race. So we'll have to see how all that goes tonight. Looks like waiting for one final truck to grid. And he has just hopped in, so we're about to see the pace car roll off for the opening warm-up lap, and then we'll get underway again for a scheduled 75 laps. And as always mentioned, of course, with this being Green White Checker TV, there is that potential of 2 Green White Checkers as well as 2 fast pairs available to these trucks as the field starts rolling off onto that pace lap that we just mentioned. And I'll definitely give some attention here in just a moment, because I say we are in October, and so we've already got one driver in the season, so always fun to see. And that was that number 10 of Justin Davis. It may be Bush, but in this one it's Bush, and I can't help but crack up at that one. So well done there, Justin. Definitely, in honor of Brandon, I'm going to call that one paint scheme of the evening for the Halloween themed Bush paint scheme, which I'm sure we're going to see more of over the course of these remaining races. Of course, the rest of the season. All right, so as always, of course, you'll see on the timing the score in the ticker right now, it's on the top bar. It's going to switch over, of course, over to that vertical one. Saying you'll see those trucks highlighted in green. Those are the playoff drivers. That way you can see where they are on track. And say there's nothing on the trucks paint job wise, so say everybody's kind of sees the same thing. And yeah, there's just kind of one of those things, let everybody race each other the same. And that's kind of how it's always been here with Area 51, where don't really try to show any like, oh hey, they're the playoff driver and all that, race them differently. And it's kind of one of the things that Charles Johnson especially just kind of race everybody the way you want to be raced, and kind of as if they're your best friend. And so I 100% agree with that, and that's why you see a lot of times we see those green flag races. So that said, we're in the restart zone and we are underway. Vicente Guerrero, Gabe Butler leading the initial start here as they will get through the gears here into turn number 1 for the first time. Right now, things holding pretty steady between the front 2 rows. Again, they're still working on building up all that speed, and then we'll see how the draft works, how we see the temperatures looking as well. And of course, always going to keep an eye on those water temperatures and oil temps in these trucks. So far, so good on this opening lap. Now it's all about who can lead lap number 1 at the line. I believe Vince may have just got that last absolute second there. Again, it's one of those ones that would have been one of those thousandths of a second finish there between the two of them. So I'll say obviously we'll have to wait and see. The drivers know who it was, and so there will be some adjustment based on that. If Vince has got it, he's like, okay, that's one less thing I have to worry about. If Gabe got it, he's thinking the same. But again, then the other one's going to be like, okay, I got to keep going. But what you do see right here, though, is, I mean, You saw the 8 car there. You see the 55. Both of them pushing till they got to 3, then rolling off of it a little bit. Probably try to get a little bit of temperature back in their radiators. And then, of course, try to make sure not to cause a bump that gets that truck unsettled. As you saw for a moment there, Dude Conrad had that little moment. This time there is no guessing there. Gabe Butler will lead lap number 2 in that number 88 with help from Dean Wilkinson. And right now everybody's still holding pretty steady here at the moment. Not a lot of big movers yet. Adam Kilday is one of those in the 85. He's up 3 spots. And then Hayden Davis right behind him in that Harbor Freight truck up 5 spots. Again, these guys starting to jump around. You can see the inside line is definitely a larger lane, which leads me to believe drivers are thinking fuel already. So we might see a pretty big train here of that inside line. But again, like I mentioned, though, it sounds like it's going to be about 19-20-ish on fuel. So we'll see kind of what the strategies are going to be for these drivers. Of course, as it runs, we know that the 14 and the 88 will be burning the most fuel here tonight. You also see in the timing scoring the playoff drivers pretty set up throughout the field here. You got first, third, fifth, sixth there. It's obviously bouncing around a little bit, but then you've got, again, our second place in the points coming into tonight, Joshua Heibaugh. He's playing it safe here. He's thinking long run in that 101 truck, keep that truck clean, because he sees that right in front of him. He sees this 3-wide battle going on, and he says, I'm going to try to keep this truck clean. I want to make sure I have something to work with at the end of this race. Because right now, though, Paul Witt in that 429, he's got the admin box on that truck. He's trying to make that third lane work. Looked like he had some help for a little bit from Hayden Davis, but right now from David Overstreet, apologies. But right now they just don't have the numbers as of yet. So I believe we'll probably see those two tuck back in line, try to kind of rebuild some momentum back up, I would expect to see. But right now, not a lot of change. But while we peeked in the back, though, we've got some movement there. You saw Vince hopped in front of Gabe for a little bit. Dude was leading the inside lane. Momentum shifted back, and he was able to get back in front of that 8 truck. So right now, again, talk about these drivers working the lanes, might be working the temperatures as well, knowing, hey, if I can clear Gabe, let me jump up top, give Dude a little bit of breathing room, let him cool that engine back down, because then he'll be able to push me even better again. So again, there's a lot of strategy being kind of behind the wheel of all these trucks, and it's some of the things that these guys do make it look really easy. But again, right now, I think most drivers kind of just minding their P's and Q's at the moment. And of course, always, as I saw you popping on there, favorite son, hope you are doing well. I say, if I'm not mistaken, probably also being a good parent and helping the kid over at swim lessons, so I hope that's going well. And yeah, like I said, if there's anybody watching, if there's any drivers you want to see any extra of, updates on, things like that, don't hesitate, pop a message in the chat. Just either root them on, just say, hey, where's so-and-so. I have no issue going to try to hunt that driver down. So right now, though, we are on lap number 7 of the scheduled 75. And then, yeah, I'm starting to see a few drivers start to fall back a little more here. And again, it's going to be that inside line that I'll be very curious on watching. And I already see some organization going on there. You've got the 48 Ryan Decker behind him. You've got Jack Walls, Bud Steele. And then you've got, I believe that is going to be Doug Webb and Jim Brooks. And so all those guys are lined up on that inside line. I believe those all are part of that Roswell organization. And then you got Silver Fox Racing as well. We talked about Highball Lane and Amaral working together there. Bob Fitzgerald, same thing. I mean, he's just kind of in cruise control with the TW guys. So yeah, so again, mixed bag of strategies, I feel like, at this point in the race. And you saw right there for a second, I thought Vince was going to jump to the top side, pick up Gabe's draft, opted to stay in the middle. But you see Dean Wilkinson either maybe getting antsy or getting some temperatures in that 55, having to try to peek out that little extra. But now the third lane starting to form. Les Levy saw the train start to work that top side, saw that 429 of Paul Witt, said, yep, don't mind if I do. I'm going to try to jump up here as well. But you can see he's kind of flirting with both because he's got a bit of both lanes at the moment. And now he's going to get to the outside of Dean Wilkinson. So this will be our first 3 wide here of the race, as Les Levy going to try to take advantage of that outside lane momentum. Again, courtesy of that 429 and the 46 of David Overstreet here. I'll say Paul Witt and on the outside Les Levy. Both those are playoff trucks as well. So, of course, as mentioned, trying to get any point they can. So if they can get that bonus point, they know they're just kind of trapped in that middle lanes there earlier. So say, hey, let's go top, let's go for it. And they are making it work as we are 3 rows deep here, 3 wide. Momentum starting to shift back towards the middle lane. Gabe Butler going to lead this lap. Will clear. That's big for him in front of Vince. That's going to give Dean Wilkinson finally some breathing room in that number 55 Cheerwine truck. That's what he's been probably waiting to have for a long time. And now Vince is going to be all over the back of him. And speaking of the 429, all over the back of that 62. Adam Kilday, he's going to join the party up top as well. So you've actually got more trucks now in the third lane than the middle lane. But right now, again, the biggest line is that inside lane, and I think that's, again, fuel strategy being played by those guys. Maybe it's for a pit stop situation. Maybe it's for that money lap at lap 40. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. We're, again, probably just about halfway through this fuel run at the moment. But right now, you can see Gabe now. He's going to jump back to the middle, pick up Dean Wilkinson, and, again, maybe trying to save the temperatures of Vince as well. Of course, maybe just trying to find where the momentum shifts. But in all that movement, the consistency up top, though, it is still working well. Les Levy not quite clear. Oh, a little bit of a bobble there. And are they going to hang on to it? They will. But that was very, very close. Good heads-up driving there by Adam Kilday, as well as that number 46 of David Overstreet. That could have been huge there. But they were both able to react in time to do so. And one guy that decided he is done riding is the 40 of Ryan Decker. He's decided to hop into that middle lane. He's going to start rolling, try to push a little bit. Has a little bit of a bobble there. The truck's getting tighter and tighter. Again, I don't suspect we'll see too much issue with tire wear. Probably will be either left side tire only or fuel only pit stops if we get those green flag pit stops with the reduced fuel cells in these trucks. So I don't expect to see too much on the strategy side of things. But man, right now though, it is definitely getting a little nervous up in this front kind of pack here, because now you can see you got 4 rows, 3 wide. And if I'm in this other group, I like what I'm seeing here. These guys kind of just rolling back a little bit, giving themselves a little bit of wiggle room should they need it, just in case. Because, yeah, if you're behind this and you see all that, probably not the most calm feeling you have behind the wheel of these trucks. And I'd be doing exactly what Robert Amaral is. This is where I want to be. You've got nobody in front of you by a fair bit. You've got a truck to the inside, but you're safely in the draft. I like this position when I'm in these races, is just kind of having some viewing ability. And you can see how bad the checkups are as well, because right there he just gains tenths of a second there. And I'd probably say he's now rolling back out of it just to give himself a little bit more space. So that's just how big these drafts will form. Again, when you've got 3 lines like this, there's not a lot of momentum to be had. You see right there, I believe that was Jim Duda had to react a little bit, just give a little bit of space down the apron, get himself merged back on track there, but he's good to go still. But yeah, right now it is definitely a crowded track right here as they head back into 3, coming through 4, 88, 14, still side by side, just about door to door there as well. But again, everybody's still hanging on okay. You can see the flames coming out of the exhaust. That's when those drivers are lifting out the throttle. A little bit of contact, Les Levy and Eric Laurie. But everybody once again able to get through that. But it's just one of those things where eventually someone's going to make just the smallest of mistakes, and that's where you really worry if you're in this main pack here. So, but again, it's the risk versus reward. You want to be up front leading laps potentially, and sometimes there could be an incident that doesn't bring out a yellow, and those in the back might lose the draft. We've seen that here before as well. So there's a lot of ways to run this race, but it looks like the third lane is just now starting to fizzle out. I think everybody's decided, okay, that third lane isn't happening. Let's get back to the middle or bottom here. Like David Overstreet gave some room to Les Levy, let him slot in there. That was in that number 62 Maker's Mark machine, right in front of the 46 Coors Light truck there. So some various alcohols doing themselves some solids there with one another. But yeah, so right now, like I said, things still holding pretty steady. And I still am going to be watching the fuel mileage on these trucks. The ones I think have been really the most fuel saving are going to be, I mean, I always talk about Jack Walls in the 83. He's always a very good fuel saver. And like I mentioned, he's got Bud Steele right there. He's got Doug Webb right there. He's got Jim Brooks. They're all together. So they've got a nice organization here in the team side of things. However, of course, right now with where they are, they're not quite a second back, but in that pit stop cycle, you always want to try to be as far forward as you can when you hit pit road. So I would expect them to try to go one more lap at least than Gabe and Vicente. But the question is going to be how many other drivers can do the same thing. So that's going to be another question mark for some of these guys to see. Maybe they could go 2 more. Let's say Gabe can go to 19 only. Maybe some of these other drivers, if they can try to go to 20, maybe then the big savers could go to lap 21, for instance. So that's going to be the strategy that I'm going to be watching here tonight. You see Gabe there able to jump just back in front of Vicente once more. And that's going to, once again, open up that middle lane for Dean here. Get some clean air finally on that 55 Cheerwine truck. But yeah, we're starting lap 17 of that 75. So again, that pit window probably opening here in about the next 2 to 3 laps. And that's why you're seeing this field start to spread out the way you are. And this is where you're going to see the comers and goers as well, where some of the drivers that have been saving and backing it down, now they're going to put the hammer down, try to gain as much time as they can once the field all starts to pull themselves to the inside lane. You're going to start to see someone's going to want to try to jump up and gain some of that track position before that happens. It's honestly, it's the strategy I really like to use myself too. I save as much as I can early, and then when I know that pit stop's about to happen about maybe 2 to 3 laps ahead of time, then I try to jump to the middle or outside lane with some help and just try to run that one extra lap, but do so with a head of steam and kind of have that little bit of extra momentum. That way I'm kind of towards the front half of the field. So we'll have to see. I say we're 18 now, coming to 19 next time around. Gabe's been able to settle in control pretty nicely with Vicente right behind him. So now it's going to be, can Dean Wilkinson, Eric Laurie, can they find ways down Justin Davis as well? They're going to need to try to find somewhere to drop in here very shortly, probably the next lap and a half, I would suspect. And you kind of, usually this is also where you see the field really start to stack on the bottom because teammates are going to try to help one another. So you could see, for instance, you might see the 8 of Duke Conrad try to say, hey, okay, let me back it down a little bit, try to get Eric Laurie in, things of that nature. So again, coming around here, they're going to start lap number 19. So really, I think this lap or next, we might see those first takers. And I'm already seeing one of those openings just start to form there. And that was Jim Duda letting Paul Witt on in there. And again, that's just going to back the pack up there on the inside lane. And this is about the time where if I'm Jack Walls and company, I want to try to get to that middle lane unless they're really tight on a fuel number. But there's our first takers. That's going to be Gary Huffines with Ryan Decker. They're going to jump middle. They know pit stops are about to happen, so they said, hey, let's jump up top just in case. Let's get that momentum built up here. Let's see if we get any takers here coming into the front stretch. And sure enough, here you go. First group of trucks is going to be led by Gabe Butler and Vicente Guerrero. So far looking clean. Everybody giving plenty of room getting onto pit road. Next job is now hitting those pit stalls. You got to know where you're qualified in relation to your opponents. And then we'll jump back up front because now it's Dean Wilkinson or Eric Laurie. They found their way to the inside line. But here comes that pack I was telling you about. There's Jack Walls there. I saw Bud Steele up there as well. And then Jim Brooks is trying to tag onto those guys as well. So again, I suspect based on this, we might see one more lap out of that 004883 and company. I think we'll see Dean Wilkinson in this time, most likely, along with Eric Laurie. Let's wait and see as they come out of 4. And that's exactly it. So we got 4 trucks that are going to go extra long. Here's the next pack that is contact between the 10 and the 46. That's going to collect a few more, the 411, the 19, the 51, and a bunch of them having to stop there. You can see the nose punched in there of the Jim Brooks truck, so he may have to burn a fast pair right off the kick here as David Overstreet might be, yep, he has to back it up a little bit. So that's the risk of pitting with a large group. So everybody's starting to hit their stalls now. So this is where if these guys can make this strategy work, they can make a big charge here. They just got to make sure they have enough fuel to get all the way through this. So we'll have to wait and see and see how their entry and exit goes. But right now, I'm going to say advantage definitely goes to those drivers that pitted that first time by with Gabe Butler and company. And here you go. There's the spread out. Everybody's giving themselves plenty of room. And it looks like nice, clean entries. And that is going to be exactly what they were hoping for there. So great job by these four. Now we got to wait for everything to cycle through, because right now of that big pack, Dean Wilkinson is a lone driver in that 55. He got in and out the best of everybody, but he is a sitting duck without draft, but should hopefully tag onto the back of this Gabe Butler-led trio here. Eric Laurie as well. He's hoping he can grab the draft of Dean Wilkinson and stay on this pack. Now we jump to those guys that pitted that latest time. Jack Walls, Ryan Decker, Bud Steele, all pretty close proximity. Gary Huffines, I'm a little nervous about him. He's a fair bit off of where I would like to see him in this situation. What we're going to do is we're going to look off the rear of the 83 of Jack Walls. And here comes that Gabe Butler group here. You can see a little wiggle by Ryan Decker trying to pull that throttle down. And now those guys going by, but again, they just need to build that momentum up here. And I think with the four of them, they should be in a better spot here. They're going to have Dean Wilkinson and Eric Laurie as well. I believe this should be catchable for them. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see as they get themselves organized, get back after it. We'll see what those lap times look like, but we do have that separation that I was just talking about. And so right now, again, it's definitely a top 7 breakaway from Gabe to Doug Webb. Jack Walls is going to try to lead the charge from him all the way to Eric Laurie. Gary Huffines is trying to tag onto them. He might have a chance at this one. Hopefully he can. And that will bring us to 13 trucks potentially. And then is where everything starts to get spread out, unfortunately. Joshua Highball there, he is off on his own. David Overstreet, he's going to have some help soon. Joshua Highball is going to get some help soon with David Overstreet, Justin Davis, and Anthony Lane. And then you got Les Levy. He's now got some connection with Jim Brooks there. And then Robert Amaral on his way too. And I believe for Jim, I think I still saw that center punch. No, so I think he opted not to get it repaired. And then you've got Hayden Davis, unfortunately, there. And then unscheduled pit stop here for Tom Dixon. Maybe an unsafe exit. And then Bob Fitzgerald as well had a lengthier pit stop, who is now a lap down in that number 08. But now let's get back up to the pack, because I just mentioned it is now a 12 truck group, and I think Ryan Decker might be trying to play helper here, see if he can just fall back enough to pick up Gary Huffines, because Gary is tantalizingly close to catching this field. We'll hop on board here with that number 00 truck. And I was watching his lap times last time by. He was about 2/10 quicker than Gabe. So he's just trying to, right now what they're doing is Ryan is trying to use himself as a ladder for himself to Eric Laurie. But he's also got to be careful not to fall too back far and lose himself the draft to Eric Laurie. So watch lap times here once more. Duke Conrad now leading 47.49. Huffines was a 47.18, so even more gains there that last lap. And I'm going to say, yeah, I think he is going to get there, because Ryan Decker is catching back up to Eric Laurie. Gary is there. That is some selfless driving by that 48 of Ryan Decker. So move those guys back in the main pack. So 13 drivers now on this main pack. And you got to go another 6 seconds back to this quad. I was about to say trio. Not quite. One extra. So it'll be Overstreet, Davis, Lane, and Highbaugh. And then unfortunately, just off the pack of those guys are Levy, Brooks, and the 08 of Bob Fitzgerald. And then I can tell you Tom Dixon is back out on track as well. So I believe it was a penalty indeed for that 411. So right now the 08, 411 are trapped 1 down. However, since we got the field mostly singled out, this is always a wonderful time to show off our drivers and their paint schemes. And right now the first one of those is that number 8 of Dude Conrad. He is right now in the lead, +2 from his starting spot, right in front of Vicente Guerrero, our pole sitter. Apologies, Vince. Then in third, you got Jim Duda. He's up 2 spots into that third position. +10 right behind him is Adam Kilday in that 85 truck. And then Paul Witt in the 429 Adden box machine. Again, we had mentioned earlier he was one of those that ran that third lane early. Tried to do what he could, but but was able to get that great in and out on his pit stop to get up there. Then he got that 88 Gabe Butler, saw him leading some laps early in that truck. And then right behind him, that 714 of Doug Webb. I'll say he's got that good-looking paint scheme there. I love the play on words, obviously, with the last name being Webb. He's got the spider webs on that truck, and it's also perfect for Halloween, too, with the purple and orange coloring scheme. So well done, sir, which I think might be an Everett Lane paint scheme, if I'm not mistaken. Got Jack Walls there in 8th right behind him. He is +8 from where he started. Teammate Bud Steele right behind him there in the 9th spot, +3. Dean Wilkinson able to get back to that field again. He was one of the few that was able to catch the field from that pit stop of the other group, and the only other one able to keep up with that was right behind him, Eric Laurie in the 071 truck. Those were the only two that kept to the first drivers that hit pit road there, so well done by those two. And then Ryan Decker, Gary Huffines, they went one lap further, so 2 laps further than the leading, 7 trucks here. So right now on fuel mileage, Ryan Decker, Gary Huffines, Jack Walls, Bud Steele are by far the best on fuel by a lap or 2. And once again, of course, going back to fuel save mode, I'm sure, as well. Then we got to go back now to 8 seconds. That's going to be Justin Davis in that number 10 truck, leading Anthony Lane there as his pusher. Then you got Joshua Highbaugh. Talked about him earlier, probably just playing it safe a little bit here early on in that 101. Then you got David Overstreet in the 46 machine, Les Levy right behind him. And then you got Jim Brooks right there as well in the 51. Yeah, you can still see that nose damage on the front of the 51. And then right now, the first truck, one down, is right behind Jim. That is the 08 of Bob Fitzgerald. And then we look for, then we go back for position. And then it's going to be the last truck right now, second to last truck on the lead lap, the 77, unfortunately, of Robert Amaral off on his own. Then you got Hayden Davis here, who is now the last truck on the lead lap in that 21st position. And then right now, Tom Dixon just getting put a second lap down to 411. So his job now is to get tied into that main pack and hold that draft just to be able to work with these guys and just stop losing any time here, because that's always the hardest part, is when you're running solo like the 77, like the 19. That's pretty much when all bets are off for trying to regain yourself back in this race. And so for those that are off that draft, we mentioned like Hayden Davis, it's just pit stops. He had a 14-second pit stop. That's probably just unfortunately a mistake of taking 4 tires instead of 2 left sides or fuel only, and that cost him the draft. And at that point, that was all she wrote. So that's the tough part, is any small mistake, that's where it really hits you. Bob Fitzgerald's a similar situation. He had about a 17-second pit stop. We talked about Tom Dixon's pit penalty. And also I look at David Overstreet, Les Levy. They had about 11.5, 11.8-second pit stops. To me, that says right side tires. And that extra second or 2, that's also the same thing, probably cost them that main pack. So it's a tough situation to be in for those guys, because again, you cannot make any mistakes in this situation. And then of course the other thing that we just saw there a moment ago is Dude Conrad giving up the top spot there. He is looking at fuel numbers, I think, said, hey, I need to make sure I can get to a good spot here to make sure I can make it on fuel. That's handed it back over to the 14 of Vicente. And I'm looking at lap times, and so far there are still no gains, though. I was curious if maybe with these movements it was going to let that second pack chase him back down. Unfortunately, in this case, the answer is no. So right now, these are still the main guys in this pack that are stretching it out, honestly, at this point. So the other thing to mention is Hayden Davis just did get put 1 lap down. So now Hayden's sitting in the first truck 1 lap down position, as Bob Fitzgerald is also 1 down, but in that group behind. So, of course, now that we run through the field, talk about all the strategies and when everybody pitted, we start to get near that window once more here. So, starting lap 33 here on this run. So, again, pit stops based on those numbers. If they went to lap 19 the first time by, that means probably about lap 38 or so. So, we'll have to see what those numbers are on that one. And I mentioned the completion of lap 40, that bonus, or should I say the money lap, That's right. Watch the Jack Walls, Bud Steele, and company. Do they run those extra couple laps to try to kind of be the leader at that money lap or not? Or do they say, you know what, we need to make sure we don't risk that and we get that track position? So it's going to be kind of that short-term potential win versus kind of looking long picture on this race as well. So yeah, Kevin, I'll say we don't have the stage cautions like we see in NASCAR, but yeah, I'll say that's always a can of worms to open. But glad to see you on here, man. I'll say I saw you in Discord, so I figured I'd ping you real quick and give you some grief. Hope you're doing well, man. Definitely missing you out on track. I don't know if you're still doing other racing or not. You have to let me know. It'd be fun to give you some grief on track at some point in the future. But yeah, right now, like I said, race number 2 of the playoffs, and with, again, right now as things run, this is going to shake up a bunch again, because right now I'm looking at the Joshua Highball was technically the leader of the playoffs again, with Jack Walls giving up his spot right now. Jack showing as our championship leader, but again, though, I say that's just kind of how it is right now, and that was honestly a me thing. It was easier for me to set up an extra couple trucks instead of giving penalty points. So and again, you see the highlighted in green, those are the playoff drivers, so those would be the guys to keep an eye on for that. So right now, like you see, you got Vince, you got Adam, Paul Witt, Gabe Butler, Dean Wilkinson. Those are the playoff drivers of the top 10. So only 5 of the top 10 are in the playoffs. So that's what you want to see if you're those guys, because you say, now, okay, I've got a decent gap to some of the other guys that are in that second pack. You got Highball there, Levy, Brooks, and then of course Cody missing tonight's race. So those are the things that'll, any little spots you can get, any bonus points you can get, you just got to try to get every single bit you can here. Well, I don't remember when the last build was, Kevin, but I know the 2003 cars seem to be fairly popular. I say with the high horsepower, the high revving and all that. And I mean, I've enjoyed them myself a little bit when I've been able to race with those, and they've been pretty fun. So that might be one to maybe pull you back in a little bit. It's not obviously the crazy COT high horsepower car that we had Larry Yingling running that league for a little while. Those were their own animals for sure. But yeah, it's a fun kind of the nostalgic, I think, for a lot of us, where that's kind of what we grew up watching. So it's been a fun add to the league, or not to the league, sorry, to iRacing itself. So yeah, so that was one I've been keeping an eye on myself as well, and trying to race it when I can. Still been watching lap times from the first pack to the second pack. It's still sitting right about identical now, about 47.7s for both packs here. So, and based on that, I'm going to say pace has definitely dropped a little bit. I'm showing a lot of these drivers, their best laps were in the high 46s. So I don't think there's a lot of pressure being set right now. Again, I think these guys are looking at lap numbers and making sure that they can make it after one more stop here at the end. This is going to be a 3-stop race with the fuel mileage, so they need to make sure that they get to that number where they can pit this time, and they'll be able to pit just one more time to make it to the scheduled distance. Of course, haven't mentioned, of course, the 2 potential green light checkers. That, of course, could throw a whole wrench into people's plans. So, and that could be where those extra couple laps by the 86, or sorry, by the 83 and the 6 and the 40 at the 00, those could come into play. So, like I said, I want to see how much further do some of these drivers try to go. Is it maybe just 1 lap? Do we see the 2 laps again by them? That said, though, I think, again, when we talked about the pace of this race, I think probably a lot of these guys in this situation, there's a lot of saving going on right now. Almost right there, you looked at, it almost seemed like nobody wanted to try to make a pass there either for a moment. But I'm watching Dean, though, he's starting to think about it, because he's the first of those that pitted a lap later in that 55 truck. So basically, like I mentioned, first Vicente Guerrero down to Doug Webb. Those guys all pitted at lap 19. Jack Wells, Bud Steele, lap 21. Dean Wilkinson, Eric Laurie were at lap 20. And then Decker and Huffines lap 21 as well. So we've got 3 lap difference between all of these guys here. So that's, or sorry, 2 lap difference between all these guys here. So I'll have to kind of see. But again, if we look at the numbers, I would suspect we'll see Vince. It's either going to be this time or next time. And based on that, it'll also tell us again that completion of that lap 20 marker we just talked about, because we're going to start lap 40 marker, because we're going to start lap 40 right now. And here comes our first set of drivers on pit road. Looks like nice and orderly with that 14, the 85, the 33, and the 429. And now it's going to be this group here. And again, this is the money lap completion of this time by. So you see the 83, you see the 6. But I think we're going to see the 8, the 88 and company. I think they have to pit this time around, so I would expect to see them in. But you can see, again, I'm watching the drivers there. You also got Ryan Decker. You got the 00 there as well. Are they going to go for that extra lap that we saw them do the previous time as well? I think we'll see the 88, the 8, 714, 55, and the 071. I predict them in this time around, which at the moment would mean, if that's the case, we'll see. And that is, yes, that is the case. So that means money lap will go to Jack Walls right here at the completion of 40 going to 41. And here comes that second pack heading pit road. So now again, everybody's got to make themselves close between the 714 and 55. Again, close with the 55 and the 411 here. You can see Dean there just trying to find a way to get through clean. I didn't see anybody have to reverse in their stalls. And you can see it looks like, yep, left sides again for the 88 and the 8. Now they're both down and away. Add Dean to that mix as well. And while they do that, we should start to see these guys come in here in just a moment as they come through 3 and 4. And again, this is where they're just pushing. Oh, as I said, a caution is out. This is going to be a very difficult situation for them, because now they've got to basically just sip fuel here. They cannot burn any fuel in these trucks. So there's Robert Amaral there, just kind of try to hold his position. That 77 truck doesn't want to roll down onto the field. And that's about the best thing you can do in these situations. Just hold the brakes there and wait for the field to go on through. So I'm wondering in this situation if it was maybe an issue. I'm going to say that truck still stopped there. I wonder if something actually may have happened to Robert. So let's go back here. So I'm wondering if actually it's unrelated. No, it's definitely on a pit exit. So he's rolling here. And I think there's hardware failure for the 77 truck. Oh no, oh my goodness. I thought we were okay for a second, but then you see the 429 of Paul Witt. Oh man, that is tough. So we'll jump over to Paul once more here. As again, Paul is that second truck, so all he sees, we'll hop on board here. All he sees is Vince here, and at some point Vince is going to have to react. You can barely see the truck for a split second there. And oh man, that's a tough pill to swallow if you're that number 429 truck. You're doing everything right there, and just it's not something you expect to see happen there. So say Robert looks like able to finally tow to pit road. I believe Paul Witt is limped that truck. I mean, you can see he's drifting that truck on the pit road. And then you got some of those guys that, again, they had to try to save fuel and just do what they could here. And that's Bud Steele, Ryan Decker, Jack Walls, and Gary Huffines. It looks like they did safely make it to pit road. Jim Brooks is in as well. Again, you can see the nose damage. I think that might be the time for a fast repair, if not just at least try to get it repaired manually. We'll try to spy on it real quick. And I didn't see a magic fix, so I'm going to say it might be opting to try to get it repaired manually. So yeah, so that said, though, the money lap does indeed go to the number 83 of Jack Walls. And then we talked about the pit stops here. Doug Webb stays out, pitted at lap number 40. And I believe, we'll have to wait and see, let everything cycle. But I believe everybody else pretty much came in. So I think Doug Webb, the only one to stay out there in the 714 truck. So we'll have to watch, because that also could trap a few trucks a lap down here if he indeed stays out, because you look behind him, I see the 714 there. Or sorry, that's 714, sorry. I see the 411. Tom Dixon, he was down a lap. The 19 of Hayden Davis, I believe, as well. And then David Overstreet. So, yeah, this actually does trap a few trucks down a lap. I believe Joshua Heibaugh, yep, he is just ahead of the 714, so he should get the wave around this time by. Again, that is one of our playoff contenders, so he's going to want to get that spot back. And so now pretty much strategy is out of the question. Though we know it's a one-stop race from here to the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take advantage, do a quick break here, get some water, and we'll be back here in just a moment.
40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, lights are off of the pace car, and it's gonna be Doug Webb, our leader on this restart. So strategy will be interesting here. Doug pitted at lap 40. Everybody else went ahead and pitted at 42. Had a couple guys top off as well, including Jim Duda and Vicente Guerrero. So they're catching back up. And then Joshua Haiba had to stay on, take the wave around to get back on the lead lap there. So he's gonna hustle back up as well. So he pitted at 39. So everybody should still be in the one stop to the end strategy. Just the question mark is going to be when they have to make that pit stop. So that's going to be the big question mark for me, is when do we see those final stops? Of course, like I said, it's going to still be a fairly small window. We're going to restart with lap 45 here. So basically we're going to have 31 laps to the end. And so they can make one more stop to the end. So, but again, though, with that 19-ish lap window, that is going to give a couple lap window. I'd say about what, four or 5 lap window potentially. So we'll have to see strategy. Do we see drivers come in early once the window opens? Do we see people run long? That's going to be the next part of this chess match with these drivers. But we are back underway here. The 714 leads the way, but a great push off the kick by the 55 to the 83. And Jack's going to have a nose ahead, but I don't believe we'll clear. We'll see if he can actually clear. He does. Jumps in front of that 714 back into turn 1 and takes over the lead. This is a big opportunity now here for Dean Wilkinson, because now for Dean here, I don't believe he's had a chance to lead a lap yet, so he wants to get that 55 truck to get a bonus point for him, as he was sitting in the top 5 in the points after our season opener at Atlanta. So he's got Bud Steele behind him, but right now Doug Webb is doing a great job pushing the 83 of Jack Walls, keeping that nose ahead in that number 83 Delaware truck. Saw Jim Brooks there. Looks like he's peeling off on the pit road. Possible penalty, I'm not sure, for 51, but he is indeed in, and I believe it was close there, but I think at the line it did go to Dean there to get that lap led. And again, it doesn't matter how far ahead you are. If it's just 1,000th of a second, that's all you need. But you can see Bud Steele, though, is giving him all the pushing he can handle here. But I'm looking a little further back. I get a little nervous here. Vicente Guerrero, Joshua Haiba, they're each about half a second off those trucks in front. I'd rather them be a little closer here just in case. Again, it's very easy to lose the draft in these trucks here, so we'll keep an eye on those two. Watch the intervals. But right now, like I said, still holding in the draft, but just like I said, a little further back than I'd feel comfortable for. And here you go, no question this time around. Dean Wilkinson will lead that lap here as we are down to 29 to go on this one. Again, magic number for pit stop is going to be about 19 laps, I would say, is safe to make it to the scheduled distance. Then it's just whether or not do you want to run a little longer, put a little bit more fuel in for that potentially 2 green light records. He also showing Les Levy may have been in the exact same situation as Jim Brooks, because those two trucks have rolled off the pit road together, which again, I mean, it at least helps time loss a little bit for the two. But yeah, I'm not sure what happened with those two. Again, maybe just something out of position, or I'm not sure what, but unfortunately puts both of them 2 laps down now in this race. And again, also both playoff trucks. So right now they are 21st and 22nd out of 23 trucks. So that is not what they want to see. And then of course the other truck that got a real raw deal out of all that is Paul Witt. He is also one down in that number 429 truck. So he's got to try to get around the 19 of Hayden Davis. Right now Hayden is about 2 trucks ahead of him in that number 19 Harbor Freight. So that's going to be the next goal here for that 429, is to get ahead of the 19. And of course we always talk about too is if there's a yellow, if you have any involvement at all, even if it's unrelated, if you go off track and touch the grass a little bit, if the yellow is out at that time, that's going to take away that lucky dog position. So you could be 2 laps down and the other 2 guys get involved in it, and that could give it to Les Levy or Tom Dixon situation like that. So that's where you have to be really aware of how aggressive do you want to be in these situations. But obviously right now, knowing you're not the first truck down, you've got the answer from Paul Witt. He wants to go for it. He's waiting for some help. I see David Overstreet. He is ready to roll once more in that 46 truck. Just has a little bit of ways to get there first. A little bit of trouble there. And that is the opposite of what they want to see. And it's going to be, oh, I see another truck down the inside wall there. I believe that's going to be the 411, Eric Laurie as well. And that was the 19 I did see of Hayden Davis. So the commentator's curse may have just struck exactly as I mentioned, because I believe, unfortunately, the trucks that were in that lucky dog spot all were involved. The 19 we just mentioned, Hayden Davis, the 429 of Paul Witt, I think also, you can see the right rear damage for him. So it could potentially go. So waiting for the timing and scoring to update here. But I believe, and somewhere in all of this, yeah, so I think it could actually wind up going to Bob Fitzgerald in the 08 truck. We'll just see if he got through clean or not. But let's go back and see what happened here to bring that yellow out. Because unfortunately, it's like you could see a lot of movement, and I believe the initial contact happened around the 19 truck here. So we'll start with this group here. You see the 10 slide up a little bit there, and yeah, the 19 drifts up a little bit as well. And saying there's the 2 lucky dog trucks that got into one another there. You see the 19 that starts to lift him up and over, and then a little further back, dude Conrad, slight contact there. Ooh, somehow just hangs on to that contact as well with Tom Dixon, because then Tom gets spun around Eric Laurie. You can see, unfortunately, he makes contact, and that sends him to the inside wall, and that's where the 411 also gets that piece of it. And then, yeah, so that's where we saw those trucks, the 46 also involved. And then Vicente Guerrero just quick on the brakes, make sure he gets no involvement in this one. So that, unfortunately, is going to bring the caution back out. That's going to bring trucks back to pit road. It will still be outside the fuel window. I don't think anybody can stretch this to the end here. We're going to see the field come in here. But what I'm waiting to see, because I'm sure Bob Fitzgerald in as well, this might be exactly... I need to do a lottery ticket at this point, because that is exactly what I believe is about to happen here. Watch Les Levy, but he is going to get waved on by here. He was 2 down. He's going to go down to just 1 lap down now in that 62 truck. So he's going to now be able to fight with Paul Witt, Hayden Davis, David Overstreet, and Bob Fitzgerald. And then looks like Jim Brooks, he's going to stay out to take the wave around, as is Tom Dixon, which will put them both from 2 down to 1 down, as Gabe Butler looks like will win that race off of pit road in that 88 truck. And Eric Laurie, I believe, Eric may have had to take a tow. I'm not 100% sure here, but unfortunately that car is definitely worse for wear. So it's just, Eric's always had such bad luck, I feel like, lately, and unfortunately appears to continue again here this evening. So and actually, this is also interesting. Well, I'm curious now, actually, for when Gabe got out of pit road, he may have actually been able to get out in front of the 411 of Tom Dixon. I want to go back and look at pit exit here. Where is that 88 truck? So I'm going to watch Gabe leaving pit lane. Where's Tom Dixon? Yeah, look at that. So there's Gabe. And so he's going to roll out of pit road. He's going to cross the line right here. And then based on that, there's Tom coming in the background, and that is going to continue to trap Tom 2 down, unfortunately, in that 411 truck. So I said that's just a tough one again, because he was far enough back that he wasn't able to catch all the way up to the field. Jim Brooks was far enough up ahead to be able to get clear of the pit exits. And again, Gabe had about a 6-second pit stop, so it kind of explains why. But yeah, so for Jim, though, he is going to wave around. He will get back to just the 1 down. And like I mentioned, he's going to join the likes of Paul Witt here, who's going to top off, as is Ryan Decker. But he's going to join basically Paul Witt, Hayden Davis, Bob Fitzgerald, Les Levy, and Eric Laurie looks like is also just the 1 down. So yeah, so that's going to kind of bring us back to where things are here as we're 1 to green. And we will restart this race with 23 to go. We're 24 here at the line. If I plug all the numbers I can plug, I don't think that's going to happen. I think I saw was 21 was the best number. And that's where, again, now the fuel mileage gets very curious, because there's a lot of things you can do here. If you've got enough guys and you trust that in and out laps that you can do together, you could pit in 5 laps and pretty much be good to go on the restart. So, and it's going to be just a splash of fuel. So it's going to be that risk where, do you want to pit early and then go ahead and get with the field, or do you want to just run long and save a little bit of extra fuel, maybe shorten that final pit stop? It just depends, I think, if you want to be in this big pack, or do you want to try to kind of just use teamwork to find a way to make it happen. So there's going to be some decisions that have to be made here by some of these drivers, and the best way to do it. So we have still 14 trucks on the lead lap. Vicente is going to be right now the last on the lead lap. And then Bob Fitzgerald at the moment is the first truck 1 down. But again, he's going to be under attack from Hayden Davis, Eric Laurie, Paul Witt, David Overstreet, Les Levy, as well as Jim Brooks. Those are going to be all those drivers that are being fighting to try to get that position. So yeah, so I say we're going to have we always talk about that race within a race. So then you look at the playoff trucks, and again, now it's only 3 of the top 10 there together. So you've got the first 3 on the inside row. Those are the playoff contenders at the moment. A little further back, Joshua Heibaugh, he is back in the thick of this thing in that 101 truck as well. So a good opportunity for him to try to get some recovery back. As we wait for that restart zone, green is out, and we are back underway. 23 to go here at the line, as it will be Gabe Butler getting pushed by Adam Kilday as they head back into turn number 1. And so far, so good. Everybody able to get through the gears clean. Now it's that fight within a fight. The 08-19 already about to be side by side as they get into the backstretch for the first time. Jack was able to get a nose ahead just for a moment, then the inside lane continued to surge. I'm watching Vicente now. He's going to try to jump to the top end once again. The driver that has no hesitation for that third lane has been the 46 of David Overstreet, but it's also in David Overstreet's benefit if he can do this, because if he can try to push that 14 far enough up ahead, he would actually clear that 19 and the 08, trying to get that lucky dog position. So you can see right here, right now the 08 has it by about a half a truck. But if the 46, if he can shove that 14 a little further forward, that would put that put David here in that position. So that's the fight that they're going for right now. And you can see right now they are staying as tight as they can on one another. You see the 33, he's on his way there, a little bit of bobble there. Everybody's still able to hang on to it. And that is exactly now what Bob Fitzgerald is now having to watch, is David Overstreet to his outside. Not quite ahead of him yet, but the way the pushes are continuing, it looks like it is. Yep, there it is right there. So at the moment now, David Overstreet in the 46 is the first truck 1 down. Again, still a long ways to go. But I don't think they're done yet. And Vince wants to get back that track position that he's lost. So he's going to try to charge back up there. And right now he's able to get to about that 4th row here. But just the 2 trucks at the moment. So they're going to need a little more numbers, I feel like, to have a chance to get up there. But I think a lot of these guys know there's still one more stop to go, and they don't want to push the issue too much yet. up front's been holding pretty steady with the 88 and the 83. Again, I don't think there's been a lot of risks taken as of yet. So I think at some point, like I said, once that window officially is open, which will be in another about 2 laps, that'll be when we start to we'll be watching to see who's going to do what. And in that sense, it's going to just be about numbers. If you have enough numbers where you feel like you can do it and get a good in-lap, out-lap and everything, that'll be where you have it. But right now, organizationally, I don't see it. Because you got the 88, he's separated from the 8, he's separated from the 714, the 071. So they just don't have the organization that they had a little earlier in this race. Similar goes for the Roswell guys. They just aren't where they need to be in order to try to pull off an early pit stop. So right now, I really think that it's going to be a lot of these guys are just going to run as far as they can, save as much fuel as they can to shorten that final pit stop. Because again, with everybody pitting at around lap number 50 or so, that is going to make this about a 15-lap fuel run that they have to make to the end. So that gives them about a 4-lap margin, if I'm not mistaken, to be able to work with. Or, no, I'm sorry. My math is bad as usual. Basically, with them pitting at 50, they can get to almost lap 70. So they really only need, I would say, maybe the 3.4 to 5.1, I believe the numbers are, gallons to make it to the end. So that's going to be a fuel-only stop, no tires at all. I think that's going to be the shortest way to make this pit stop happen. But look at these two up top, that 14 and 46. They are working extremely well together and still able to hang on to these top two on the inside line, middle lane, with all of them organized together. Paul Witt said, all right, this didn't work earlier, but you know what? I'm still game. Let's go for it here. And he's going to wind up pushing the driver that he's been working with and now kind of his competition for the Lucky Dog. And that is that 46 David Overstreet. We'll see if this third truck was the extra boost that Vicente needed to try to get to the lead of this race. So right now, working that third lane, we'll see can he clear the middle lane at some point and pop in front of Jack Wells here, as next time by will be 17 to go. Oh, closer between the 83 and the 88. Everybody's able to get through clean though, as we are 3x3. First 2 rows now, 4 rows 3x3. As it continues to be there, Vicente now just a nose ahead, not enough yet. You can see David Overstreet, he's trying to drift up a little bit, get a little bit of very solid, I think maybe a little bit of contact there with the 83 and the 14. That slowed the momentum. I see the 00 joining the mix there as well, Gary Huffines. So I say everybody's starting to try to find their way somewhere to move a little bit forward in this one as we get closer and closer to that final pit stop. These guys are starting to get pretty tight one another. You can see now the 3 lanes have really started to go away. The 14 and the 46 are really the only ones that are back up there. This 429, he's got back to the middle lane. Gary Huffines, though, he said, all right, I'm going to stay committed to this third lane. He's going to try to charge back forward here, get a couple of spots here from that middle and inside lanes. I also see Joshua Highbaugh starting to peek up there. So these guys are starting to try to find that track position. But again, though, these guys, nobody can make it to the end here, even on fuel save. So we know there's still one more stop left in this race to make it to the end on fuel. Should be a very quick stop to do this. But right now, there have been no takers as Bob Fitzgerald had a big wiggle there. I think he may have got a bump that unsettled that 08 truck. But good hands able to hang on to it there. And we stay under green. Everybody stays pointed in that right direction. And right now, like I said, of the drivers on this lead lap, Ryan Decker at the moment is in 14th. And so I think Ryan's kind of just playing it safe here for the moment. So he's got some room, obviously on the inside lane, he's got room to his outside as well. So just kind of, not in a pocket by any means, but definitely doesn't have to worry a little. Oh, man, that was close right there. Almost a little bit of contact there, the 85 and the 14. I think both of them saw that same real estate happening, and Vince said, no, I got to take this one. Adam wanted to try to see if he could get a nose around the 88 of Gabe Butler, and they about met at the middle, but that was great heads up by the two of them, able to get themselves sorted back out, and that's going to push Jack Walls now back a little bit in that 83 truck. And now, if the 46 can clear himself off of the front of this pack here, he could wind up being in a position of being the tail end of the lead lap. And there goes the 85 and the 14. Now they get hooked on together, and they're going to try to make a big push down the backstretch here. We'll see, can they clear the 88 of Gabe Butler? And as they come into turn number 3, answer is no, not yet. So, and you see the 4600, big pushes for them again. Right now, David Overstreet, he can push himself clear. That'll put him tail end. And at that point, Bob Fitzgerald would be the biggest David Overstreet fan, because right now at the moment he sits a nose ahead. And as soon as I say that, Paul Witt actually takes that spot now for a moment in that 429 truck. So, like I said, it's all, there's that fight within a fight as we approach that window to get into pit road for the final time. Window is officially open. Like I said, I think everybody's afraid to come in by themselves and not have the draft they need. So I think we're going to see another, it's going to be one of those things where they run it pretty late and then just try to come in small packs is kind of what I'm expecting to see. But I think you're going to see a lot of response from the drivers. So as soon as the first group pits, I think you're going to see others come in as well. I'm still looking for any kind of team organization, and I just don't see anybody fully lined up together here still to be able to try any strategy on the pit stop side of things. Everybody's just too separated there, and of course you need to have, I'd say, minimum 3, ideally 4, because again though, if you do it, you've got to have everybody on the exact same page. Say we're taking this much fuel, no tires, just all the little details. And yeah, you can see right now, it looks like the third lane is just about giving up here. The 46 is, it's not for lack of effort for David Overstreet, but looks like he's lost that third lane. And so that's actually promoted Paul Witt now in the 429 truck to that top spot. And again, so that the playoff battle continues. So that's going to allow, at the moment, Paul to be the first truck one down. So again, he wants any chance he can to get back onto that lead lap, because right now you've got a number of trucks in the playoffs 1 lap down. So that's going to be a potential huge opportunity for him. And then you got some other drivers that are just playing it safe that are in that position. I'm watching Jim Brooks. He's just kind of cruise control in that 51. Eric Laurie, kind of similar boat here as well. Hayden Davis as well. So basically, most of these guys are not really wanting to rock the boat yet. Les Levy starting to make a little bit of a move forward as well in that number 62 truck. But right now, still holds by that 429 for the moment here for that first truck one down. No real change yet up front here. You can see the 85, 88. They've been pretty much side by side. Here comes Jim Brooks. I think this is basically, he had to come in. He was one of those trucks that took that wave around, so he had to come in this time by 10 to go. So this, again, this is not the opportunity you want, because now for him, he's going to have an in and out lap by himself without any draft, and that is likely going to cost him the draft, unfortunately. So his only potential chance is if someone pits this time by, which you are starting to see some drivers start to peel towards the bottom. So we might see some trucks pit. That's going to be the best hope for Jim Brooks, because that would give him at least some sort of a chance to hang on to a draft to somebody. But it's going to have to be pretty much this time by. Otherwise, I don't think he really stands much of a chance. So we'll see if we have any takers. And the answer is yes. So it's going to be a lot of takers here coming in at 9 to go this time by. And it is half the field here coming on in. And so this is a great entry by everybody, but now it's the tough part. Now everybody's got to find their pit stalls, not step on each other's toes. You don't want any contact with one another. And you currently see a little further back there, I saw the big stack-ups happening. And it looks like, I think Bud Steele may have missed his box there. It looks like he kind of got a little bit off-center there. Adam Kilday as well. So everybody's lost their positions where they need to be on pit road. And now you got some guys already rolling out here. So that's going to be a really tough position for some of those guys to be in as well. It looks like the first one out will be the 88. So now these guys are the ones that are going to go at least 1 lap longer. Right now, Joshua Heibaugh, he is our leader, but he's got a couple trucks in front of him. Now, again, this is that position. Now, these guys were fighting to stay on the first truck one down. Now they're tail end of the lead lap. This is a great opportunity for them, because this could be what they need. Now, if there was to be a chance of a yellow, they would be able to wave right back around here. So that is exactly what they're hoping to see to bring them back into the mix. Same thing for Les Levy as it runs. Les would actually be the first truck one down, so he would get that wave around. So Now it's going to be all about lap times. How quick are you guys versus the leaders that had just pitted? The organization is starting to build themselves back together. You see you've got Gabe, Vince, Adam all together. Dean's not there yet. He's not too far away. Then you'll be able to get Dude Conrad with him. And so it's a bunch of little gaps here, but I think the cutoff is going to look like it's going to be Ryan Decker. So I think it's going to be Justin Davis and Jack Walls should get back up to Gary Huffines, which should get them back up to Dean. So yeah, so I think that's going to be the gap we see for that. And so what I'm wanting to watch, though, is to see when does the 101 pit. So I want to see lap times. That's my concern right now. Is you can see these guys are not drafting as aggressively as I feel like they need to be for this final stint here, because this is where you want to get those big in and out laps. The 429 is going to get a great draft off of Jim Brooks in that 51 truck, so that's going to help their pace a little bit here as well. But again, I'm waiting for that second pack to complete their lap. And yeah, sure enough, here you go. Gabe Butler ran at 47.02. Joshua Highball's a 47.61. So he was 0.6 of a second slower that last lap. And it's just, that's not going to cut it, unfortunately. This time by, it was a 47.16, but still, again, a 1/10.5 off, even with the draft. So these aren't the lap times they need. And again, if they continue to run this a little bit slower, they could risk losing the lead pack in all of this as well. So that's going to be the tough spot for a lot of these guys to be in. So right now, again, if you're the other two, like I said, if you're the 429 and 48, you're just going as far as you possibly can. Again, just hoping for a yellow, get yourself back on the lead lap and have a chance to go for it at the end. So, and then of course, then you got the fight for the win at the moment right now. You've got Gabe and Adam on the inside. You got Dude Conrad right there. The 00 of Gary Huffines is in that group. Then you got Dean and Vince on the outside lane. So again, fuel's out of the question. These guys know they can make it to the end. And also got to mention for the lap times, Gary Huffines ran the fastest lap of the race, that last lap in the 00 truck. As you see, he's going to jump to the top side here and try to steal some draft. And as soon as he does that, Justin says, don't mind if I do. I'm going to jump to the bottom lane there. As we now jump over to that 101 truck. Currently still our leader yet to pit here is Joshua Highbaugh. And so again, he still has Anthony Lane and Jim Duda. They have yet to make their final stop as well. But again, lap time wise, just it's not going the right way. They're again about, I'd say, 3/4 of a second slower that previous lap. So I think what's going to happen is when they pit, I don't think they're going to hang on to this main pack here. And so we'll find out now though, because here they all come in as we're approaching. It's going to be 5 to go here at the line as the leaders make their final stop. And that is going to switch things back over to Gabe as they're the pit stop. So you can see again, here's the organization almost contact there at the 101 and the 33. Got to find her pit stalls. 81 overshoots and he's up against the wall. So he's going to have to move left or to the right here. I'm sorry. Now he's down and away. And you see by the time he gets the stall, Joshua Highball's gone. And again, that's going to be the concern, is if he's going to have any drafting help. He'll have the 33, it looks like, and the 429. So he does have some help here. But we'll watch here. Right now, Jim Duda is showing as our leader. But here's the problem, though. You already see them. They're there. And this is not a very fast pit exit here. You have to have that very flat apron. So there they go right now. There go the leaders. And they're just not going to be able to tag onto them. So that's going to drop them back to, I believe, probably about the 9th and 10th spot out of the draft, out of the running for the win. It will now be the top 8 here from Gabe Butler, Vicente Guerrero, Adam Kilday, Dean Wilkinson, Dude Conrad, Gary Huffines, Justin Davis, and Jack Walls. These are the drivers fighting for the win of this race. As it runs, we got 4 to go here, 3 at the line. Our top 4 in this race are in the playoffs. So you got 5th on back. These guys are all either trying to get a win themselves or trying to help their playoff teammates here. So we'll have to wait and see where the alliances lie in this one here with these remaining 3 laps. Again, then there's also, again, these guys, they're racing for their own wins here. So depending on what the situation is, maybe there's a chance for them to try to get themselves a win. You see a little further back there, I see that 429 there of Paul Witt. I believe Paul is still showing as the first track 1 down here. Waiting to see for timing scoring to update on my side. Yeah, indeed it is Paul Witt in the 429. Sits in 15th, 1 down. There they are in that second pack. And then for position, it's Jim Duda, Joshua Highball, like mentioned, are 9th and 10th. So that was the concern I had running along. We were down to 2 to go. Here comes that third lane. 0-0. Gary Huff finds, he says, I don't care about points. I want to win this race. He's going to try to run that third lane. Jack Walls is going to join him as well. That's going to change the numbers now. So now it's 4 on the inside, 2 in the middle, 2 on the top. But again, though, I was going to say, you see one coming up there, and that is a ton of respect being given there. I believe that's Tom Dixon, and that's no surprise. Tom Dixon, a class act. So he's just going to completely get out of the way. So you guys do everything. I don't want to be any part of this one. Big move by Adam Kildare. Just jumps in front of Vicente Guerrero at the last second. And I think this may be part of their plan there. I believe those two are working together. I could be wrong. We'll have to check later. But here you go. The white flag is coming out now. And this is it. Final lap of the race here at Daytona. Could it be Adam? Could it be Vince? Could it be Gary? We'll see if Gabe can make a move here, if he can try to find a way to push the 85 clear. A little bit of contact there through 1 and 2. Vince is going to just hang on to their big bobbles, though. Again, they don't want to throw away the points that they have. You want to win, but you got to make sure you don't give away points to your competition. And right now, Adam has that nose ahead here as they head into 3-4 that final time. We'll see if Gabe can do anything to push that 85 clear. He's going to do so. He's cleared himself as well. Adam's going to probably block. He's going to run both lanes. Gabe's going to make some move. Contact there with Dude Conrad. And that is going to send those two up and around. It is going to be Adam Kildare getting the win tonight over Dean Wilkinson. Vicente Guerrero, Jack Walls will be our top 4. And then Gary Huffine's going to bring it home in that 5th position. So let's go back. We'll watch the move come into the checkered here. Not what Gabe was hoping for. They're trying to get that win this evening. But as like I said, it's one of those things where at the end here you can see Gabe in that 88 truck. So we'll get a better angle of it here. And and I think, let's see if I can find a better, here is a perfect angle of it here. So you see the 14, oh yeah, a little bit of contact, the 14, able to hold on to it, but then the momentum loss, that puts him right across the nose of Dude Conrad. And then at that point, they're just trying to hang on to those trucks. And so then you can see they're just everybody. Then there's the contact there up top there. I think that's Justin Davis. Oh yeah, he gets together with that 0-0. And then we look at Gabe, though, as Justin's going up and over. Gabe's already drifting that truck, trying to keep it in one piece as they come through the line here. So, it's a loss of a couple spots. I mean, again, it's never what you want to see. But at the same time, you know how big a win is in this thing to get those bonus points to the next race. So, unfortunately, was not able to get it done. But like I said, though, the moves at the end, Adam Kildare able to jump in front of Vince, get that push, and grab the win here tonight at Daytona. So with that, we got to find some fellows to chat with here. We're going to look for this Vince guy. I'm going to spy to see where was Vince working tonight. Actually, I don't see him with Adam, so we'll have to quiz him on that one. Maybe that was the best move he can make there at the time. So let's go ahead and grab Vince on over here in that number 14 truck. So we're going to pull Vince in here. It's finishing in 3rd this evening. Vince qualified first, finishes in 3rd. I mean, is that a race you're happy with result-wise, or is that one it's like, man, there was more in there for me tonight?
Nah, yeah, I'm satisfied with the podium. It was just hard racing tonight. My teammates were further back than I wanted to, but all in all, I had Dean there pushing me at the end, and he seemed like he was committed pushing me. So yeah, huge shout out for Dean pushing me there.
Yeah, and we were watching at the end where you see Adam able to sneak in front of you there. Initially, I was like, oh, that might be the strategy that he was wanting to do, is to kind of keep him in front of you. But looking back, I'm not sure if that was actually, I don't know if that was the strategy between the two of you. I think that was just Adam trying to get everything he could there. Was kind of the middle just where you were planning on being regardless, just with the circumstances? Or if you had an option, like would you rather try to find a way to get to the bottom or anything like there at the end?
Oh, trust me. If I had a chance to get to the bottom, I would. But where I was playing, they're in the mid, and somebody jumped in front of me. I didn't want anybody to jump in front of me. I just wanted some more help in the mid, but it was never there. So, I mean, Kilday, when Kilday jumped up to the mid, it kind of helped me a little bit, and because I think I lost my momentum there, I almost got net coated or I made some contact, something there, coming to the white, or if not at the white, and it started that white there, and we were able to gain the momentum back on the back stretch. And then I think Gabe was clear of me. He made the move on the outside, so I was like, well, if he jumped up in front of me, I was gonna be willing to push. But I think Kilday pulled a block there, and hell of a job for Kilday too for pulling off that win.
Yeah, it was some big moves out of four, like you said, and yeah, Gabe was just able to clear you, and then yeah, that's just everybody was trying to go where they could to try to pull off that win there. And obviously, I mean, every point's gonna be so crucial in these final couple races. But like I said, I mean, you were able to still keep that truck in one piece and bring it home in third. So great job. So you've got the Vicente fan club, Matt Wagner. He's popping in. Happy to see you here tonight.
Good
But
to
man,
hear him.
great job tonight, sir. Like I said, going into this one, getting the pole and then able to bring it home in third. So definitely got to give you the floor here for any thanks and shouts for that podium this evening.
Yeah, Gail, thank you for broadcasting. Can't wait to watch this back. Thank you to Area 51 for putting on this league and on this show, and all the fellow drivers here. Also want to thank my teammates out in the earth over there, Jim and Paul. It was a fun driving with them, and also a huge shout out and rest in peace to my grandma. She just recently passed away, but huge shout out to her. And then I also want thoughts and prayers are with you, Dad. Love you, Mom, out in Arizona.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Vince. Yeah, definitely thinking of you and your family. Definitely, yeah, thoughts and prayers to all of you. Sorry you have to go through that. Say it's always a tough one for those. And but yeah, so I'm glad you're able to get out here. Maybe a bit of an escape from reality for a bit. But yeah, definitely share the sentiments to your family and give them all our best. And yeah, definitely. I appreciate you being out here still tonight, and look forward to seeing the rest of the way. But yeah, go spend some time with the family, give them some love, and we'll see you soon, though, sir.
Yeah.
That is our third place, Vicente Guerrero. And again, I talk about it week in, week out before we pull in Dean, but this stuff that we do, we do it to get away sometimes from all the craziness in real life. And so sometimes, obviously, again, competition gets heated. Everybody, you want to do well and you want to do everything you can, but at the end of the day, I mean, again, I'm gonna make people mad, but from where I sit, like I feel like it's still a game. We get to kind of go away from it and do our own things, and so yeah, but yeah, definitely thinking of the family for Vince, and I'm so sorry to hear about the loss of his grandma. But yeah, given his parents and family all of our love over here. So yeah, hopefully time will definitely help things. So thinking of you all. Now have to jump back one position, or forward, I should say, one position. We're going to grab that 55 of Dean Wilkinson, who able to get a runner up here tonight, Dean. And again, we'll have to wait for how the points all kind of file out after everything's kind of said and done. But I say able to get a great result, getting that second here tonight. Obviously not an easy thing to do. To me, the biggest part prior to the yellow was the lap, I think it was lap 20 you guys pitted, and it was just two of you that were able to keep with the main draft. Everybody else, unfortunately, had lost the main pack. I mean, was that something you noticed where when you saw that, I mean, does that change your strategy and say, okay, that extra lap didn't play out as well as I wanted just because it was too big of a group? Or I mean, what do you do in that situation? How do you respond and react to it?
Yeah, that's exactly when Gabe went in there the second time after that pit. I could have won another lap, but I didn't want to risk losing that pack. It was close. I mean, I got out ahead, but then they just blew by me, and I don't think the fuel would have been that big of a deal. So yeah, I pitted with those guys.
And then obviously then we come to the final stop of the race, and it was one of those ones where it seemed like just no, like you mentioned, trying to go when they went, because there was no real teams able to be organized, because I had mentioned, well, the pit window was a pretty big window where you could pit like within maybe 5 laps of the run, or you can go all the way to 5 to go. and so there's a big window of when you could make that final stop. And were there any thoughts, if you had the numbers and had kind of your whole team organized, where you say, hey, you know what, let's try to do something way different to kind of catch these guys off guard, and then of course in a perfect situation with that? Or was it pretty much no matter what, you're like, I just got to do what these guys I'm fighting for the title are going to do tonight?
Pretty much, because my teammates unfortunately had some bad luck there early on, Mr. Bob and Mr. Tom. So, yeah, I just basically want to stick with those leaders. And yeah, I almost contemplated doing a second pit to avoid the big one, which I thought was going to happen, and I'm glad I didn't do that. I don't know if I almost pitted, but then I last second, because I thought I was going to be on the outside, and I did not want to be on the outside. So when I saw it was fifth, I'm like, okay, I'll stay out, because then I have a chance if something happens to, have an escape zone. But thankfully, it didn't happen.
Yeah, and sometimes, of course, getting that you can pit here without losing that lap. So, of course, you don't have to stress about that either. So, I'll say the strategy worked out. Obviously, things got a little wild in front of you, but you're able to keep that truck in one piece and kind of sneak through all of it to still grab that runner-up spot and get a great result in going into the last half of the playoffs here as well. So, before we let you go and kind of focus on all that stuff, definitely, as always, got to give the floor here for any thanks and shout-outs for that runner-up tonight, sir.
Well, I want to congratulate Adam for the win. Good job, Adam. Thank you guys for the broadcast as always. And TW Motorsports, my two teammates, Bob and Tom, and Area 51 for putting up a great league. And of course, I always say this: drivers, without good drivers, we don't have good races. So thank you, drivers.
Great job again, though, Dean. Go enjoy this one, and look forward to seeing you in just a few nights' time.
Thanks, Kyle. Have a good night.
That was Dean Wilkinson, and get him back over to his teammates. That leaves us one fellow left to chat with, and that is going to be this number 85. We'll grab Adam Kilday in over here. Wasn't this playoff opener he was hoping for at Atlanta, but big bounce back here tonight, Adam. Had to work for it there, and kind of you got to fight some of the toughest guys in the series to do it there. And so, I mean, for me, the question mark, or I mean, name question mark, but towards the end there, you hop to the middle lane in front of Vicente there. Initially, I thought that was like, okay, they're going to work with each other and push all the way, but I don't think that was actually any not a teamwork strategy. That was just kind of, you felt like that was your best bet at that point to pull off the win there. I mean, take us through just the split second decisions you're having to make to try to keep that truck in front there at the end.
I'll say probably like the last, what do you call it, 10 laps, that last run we had. I was trying to see really how low we could get the temperatures on the truck at one point, and see if maybe we could have enough temps towards the end of the run to just stay in and on the back stretch to try to clear myself. Which on 3 to go, we managed to have enough temperature to shove Gabe way up ahead to where I did have that second lane cleared in front of Vicente. So that's when I took that opening, got up in front of Vince. Vince pushed me pretty good to where I was able to clear back down in front of Gabe. And at that point, I thought the field would be pretty much locked up coming to the checkered flag, because I think it was the white flag when I moved down in front of Gabe. Or I could be wrong. Could have been 2 to go. But yeah, I figured Gabe would have had a fresh truck to push me all the way to the line. But it came to the last turn to where he got me so out front to where he had Vince cleared to go up. So I was pretty committed. I was just going to throw one block, try to move up with him, and see if that would trap Gabe behind me. But unfortunately, they ended up getting tangled up somehow. I haven't really seen the replay back much, but yeah, I hated seeing the guys wreck behind me. But yeah, it was I don't know. Last week, like you said, we didn't have a good points finish at Atlanta, and that was probably due to a bad time caution at that track. So, but Atlanta, I'm not much of a fan of anyways. But yeah, but yeah, I was hoping to have a good run to the line there with Gabe and Vince, and it didn't turn out that way. But at the end of the day, I believe we crossed off Area 51 off the list for the first win on Thursday/Friday.
I was
So
gonna say I honestly just would have assumed that you had already. So I'm gonna have to check the stats here myself because I feel like you've had to. And yeah, you're right. So yeah, you had a Gen 4 Cup win on the Sunday series. So yeah, you're right. First Friday win over here. So yeah, big congrats there. Saying speaking of your Matt Wagner fan popping in over here, congratulating you on the win. And he always loves to say he loves first time winners. So maybe it's because he was spying in on the chat there at the end of this race to get you that look you needed to put yourself in position and do everything right there at the end. But yeah, no, great job, Adam. Like you mentioned too on the Atlanta not going the way you want. Obviously, I know it's hard to look at points in all these, but with that win tonight, you do jump up 6 spots. I mean, it tells you again with the way we do the points in a 4-race shootout and everything reset. I mean, every point's going to be so crucial. So getting that win, obviously very big for you tonight. So just great job tonight, man. Before we let you go and enjoy this one, though, as always, definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for that win this evening.
it will do. Shout out first to Matt Wagner there in chat, dude. We appreciate you, man. And do shout out to the drivers are up there competing at the end. We were all keeping it pretty straight and organized that final run, and I enjoyed it. So shout out to those drivers for having a clean run there. Shout out to the guys in my Discord. I know Les Levy is in this chase, but he got screwed over on pit road a couple times and couldn't really serve the one penalty he had. He had a 40-second hold, but then a caution came out to where he couldn't serve it. And yeah, he had to serve it on the next green flag, so that really put him in a terrible hole. But hopefully we could bring Les back out of that, be there for him, whatever the case may be. But yeah, shout out to that guy and David Overstreet too, that ran with us. He was there helping us out a lot. So good running with those two dudes all season. And shout out to who else there? I mean, whoever's helping, pushing to putting me in position for points or whatever. I appreciate you. All the thanks from the drivers for the win. Appreciate you all. And thank you, Kyle Brooks on Green White Checkered TV on YouTube, man. So your time's greatly appreciated, along with all the Area 51 guys and the admins that put in time for doing Area 51 and everything else on the side. So yeah, greatly appreciated.
All right, so well, great job tonight. Like I said, you had to work hard for it. They're never going to give it to you. You're going to have to kind of almost take it from it, if you will. So, like I said, you did a great job. Made all the moves to hold off and get that win tonight. So, go enjoy this one and look forward to seeing you here at the next track. And say halfway through the playoffs, we got 2 more to go. So, look forward to seeing you on track again soon, sir.
Will do, man. You take it easy.
All right, that is our race winner in that number 85 of Adam Kilday. Again, I mean, you saw there at the end, and he mentioned that he was able to push Gabe clear. Then Gabe did the same thing, was able to push Adam as far clear as he could to get a move to try to make it happen. But again, everybody's going to get greedy at the end of these races. And so we saw, again, Adam moved up a little bit, and that, I think, just kind of stacked things up a little bit. And unfortunately, like I said, I think maybe some contact with the 80 and the 14, and then obviously that got the 88 down into the 8. And again, I mean, that's just, these guys are going to get aggressive at the end of these races. They know there's championship on the line. So, yeah, I would say it was really tough racing, and Adam able to come up on top at the end. Matt, appreciate you peeking in there at the end. As a Quabi Kevin, always love seeing you guys as well. So everybody that watched, appreciate you guys being a part of this one. Or who will be watching, thank you all for watching, supporting us here at Green White Checker TV. We will be back again on Sunday night for race number 2 of the Xfinity Series, once again here at Daytona. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, just all of our love to Vicente's family. I said it's always a tough time, and so Vince and the Guerrero family, love you guys. Thinking of you all. Thoughts and prayers, and yeah, hopefully, like I said, get through this tough time and kind of come through stronger, if you will. So, hope you all have a wonderful evening, and of course, as always, until next time, take care, stay safe, and have a good night.